Static website hosting is a method of hosting web pages that are pre-built and served to the user without any server-side processing. This approach is ideal for websites that do not require dynamic content generation, such as blogs, portfolios, and documentation sites. In the context of Azure, static website hosting leverages Azure storage to deliver content efficiently and cost-effectively. This presentation will explore the various aspects of implementing static website hosting using Azure storage, including setup, configuration, and best practices. Static websites consist of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript files that are directly served to the user's browser. Unlike dynamic websites, static websites do not require server-side scripting or databases. This simplicity leads to faster load times, improved security, and lower hosting costs. Static websites are ideal for content that does not change frequently and can be pre-rendered. Examples include personal blogs, marketing pages, and documentation sites. Static website hosting offers several advantages. Firstly, it provides faster load times since the content is pre-built and served directly from the server. Secondly, it enhances security as there are no server-side scripts or databases that can be exploited. Thirdly, it reduces hosting costs because static files require less server resources. Additionally, static websites are easier to scale and can handle high traffic volumes with minimal configuration. These benefits make static website hosting an attractive option for many use cases. Azure Storage is a cloud storage solution provided by Microsoft Azure. It offers scalable, durable, and secure storage for a variety of data types, including blobs, files, queues, and tables. For static website hosting, Azure Blob Storage is used to store and serve the static files. Azure Storage provides high availability and redundancy, ensuring that your website remains accessible even in the event of hardware failures. It also integrates seamlessly with other Azure services, making it a versatile choice for hosting static websites. To host a static website on Azure, you first need to create an Azure Storage account. This can be done through the Azure Portal, Azure CLI, or Azure PowerShell. When creating the storage account, you can choose between different performance tiers, standard or premium, and replication options, LRS, GRS, RAGRS. Once the storage account is created, you can configure it for static website hosting by enabling the static website feature and specifying the index and error documents. After creating the Azure Storage account, the next step is to configure it for static website hosting. This involves enabling the static website feature in the storage account settings. You will need to specify the index document, e.g. index.html, and the error document, e.g. 404.html. The index document is the default page that users will see when they visit your website, while the error document is displayed when a user tries to access a non-existent page. Once configured, Azure will provide a primary endpoint URL for your static website. With the static website feature enabled, you can now upload your static files to Azure Blob Storage. This can be done through the Azure Portal, Azure CLI, or Azure Storage Explorer. You will need to upload all the necessary files, including HTML, CSS, JavaScript, images, and other assets. It is important to organize your files properly and ensure that the file paths match the references in your HTML documents. Once uploaded, your static website will be accessible via the primary endpoint URL provided by Azure. To provide a more professional appearance and improve user experience, you can configure a custom domain for your static website hosted on Azure. This involves purchasing a domain name from a domain registrar and configuring DNS settings to point to the Azure Storage primary endpoint. You will need to create a CNAME record that maps your custom domain to the Azure-provided URL. Additionally, you can enable HTTPS for your custom domain to ensure secure communication between users and your website. Enabling HTTPS for your static website is crucial for ensuring secure communication between users and your website. Azure Storage supports HTTPS out of the box, but you will need to configure it for your custom domain. This can be done by obtaining an SSL/TLS certificate and configuring it in the Azure portal. Azure also offers integration with Azure CDN, which provides free SSL certificates and additional performance benefits. Implementing HTTPS helps protect user data and improve search engine rankings. Monitoring and analytics are essential for understanding the performance and usage of your static website. Azure Storage provides built-in metrics and logs that can be accessed through the Azure portal. You can monitor metrics such as request count, data transfer, and latency to gain insights into your website's performance. Additionally, you can integrate Azure Storage with Azure Monitor and Application Insights for more advanced monitoring and analytics capabilities. These tools help you identify and resolve issues, optimize performance, and make data-driven decisions. Static websites hosted on Azure Storage can easily scale to handle high traffic volumes. Azure Storage automatically manages scaling based on demand, ensuring that your website remains responsive even during traffic spikes. To further optimize performance, you can integrate Azure CDN with your static website. Azure CDN caches your static content at edge locations around the world, reducing latency and improving load times for users. Additionally, you can optimize your static files by minifying CSS and JavaScript, compressing images, and using efficient file formats. To ensure the success of your static website, it is important to follow best practices. These include organizing your files logically, using descriptive file names, and maintaining a consistent folder structure. Additionally, you should optimize your static files for performance, implement HTTPS for security, and configure a custom domain for a professional appearance. Regularly monitor your website's performance and usage, and make data-driven decisions to improve user experience. By following these best practices, you can create a fast, secure, and reliable static website on Azure. Let's explore a case study of a successful implementation of static website hosting on Azure. A small business wanted to create a marketing website to showcase their products and services. They chose Azure Storage for its scalability, security, and cost-effectiveness. By following best practices, they organized their files, optimized performance, and configured a custom domain with HTTPS. The result was a fast, secure, and professional website that handled high traffic volumes during promotional campaigns. This case study demonstrates the benefits and effectiveness of static website hosting on Azure. In conclusion, static website hosting on Azure Storage offers a fast, secure, and cost-effective solution for hosting web content. By leveraging Azure scalability, performance, and integration capabilities, you can create a reliable and professional static website. The next steps involve setting up your Azure Storage account, configuring static website hosting, uploading your content, and optimizing performance. By following the guidelines and best practices outlined in this presentation, you can successfully implement static website hosting on Azure and deliver an exceptional user experience.